It is 9:30 on a Thursday night, and you are tuned into Beltway Radio and Beyond, which can mean one and only thing. This is Chip Chat. Welcome to Chip Chat, everybody. Hi, I'm your host, Chip. Who are you, Tez?
I'm confused, but you just told him.
And late.
Yeah.
I was on time.
For once.
Which has never happened.
For once. I think this might be the first time I was late.
I'm a late person, but I'm not just late to the show. Like, I'm late all the time. I'm just a late person. I think there are two kinds of people.
Yeah.
There's late people and early/on-time people.
Yeah.
And I'm a late person.
Yeah.
I think it's genetic, to be honest. Not that my parents are late people.
They're not. Oh.
It's just that my people are late people.
So then
it took us 40 years to walk one country. Egypt to Israel is right next door. There was a straight line. No, it didn't go that way. It went across some water to the wrong side of the place. Moses did not have a map. I don't know what's up with that. They didn't have Google?
No. There was probably somebody named Google.
Yeah, I'm sure there was. Google, anyway.
Google. That's right.
Yeah. All right, so welcome to, this is a special edition. It's special this week because we have no guests.
Yeah, so maybe we get out of here on time.
Well, we had a guest, but he was on a train to Kyiv the night that we were supposed to talk to him. So, the pre-record, so we couldn't get him on the line.
Yeah.
We do have a bunch of fun stuff to talk about. Dumb Kevin gave Tucker the passwords to the Capitol. In honor of that, I found some snacks. Some M&Ms
You're not watching us, yeah.
Featuring the green M&M, so we're going to talk about that.
Pumps or no pumps?
Yeah, we couldn't tell from the picture.
Okay.
MTG wants to get divorced again. You thought getting divorced from her husband was bad enough.
They reconciled and then it, fell apart.
Did they?
Well, I think it reconciled and then it.
Yeah, I know they're currently not. Yeah, because she did get divorced.
Yes, that did happen.
Let's see. Wisconsin Republicans said the quiet part out loud. And, of course, Fonnie Willis and the Georgia grand jury report. It got a little more detailed this week, actually, even today.
Oh, yes.
Which I actually have a very serious question I want to ask you about that. I wonder what your answer is going to be, but that's going to be insane. Plus, some other stuff. I don't know. You never know. I haven't looked at this show. I didn't write it this week. Brian wrote the whole show. Did you know that?
Brian, you know what? That's we got something in common tonight. Me and you both.
Yeah, neither of us contributed to the show.
I'm just gonna take. You know what? I'll take the topics as they come.
Well, that's kind of the point of the show, right? Is that we're smart enough.
Yeah,
we're not smart. We're smart enough.
Yeah,
to be able to work with what we got.
Exactly.
That's the idea. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we don't react.
Colbert has writers.
Yeah, there's not as any of you who listen or watch can tell that there is not much preparation that goes on here.
No, there's not. There's no plan. Everything just happens. If it does happen. If it doesn't happen, it's, probably better for everybody. Yeah. All right. Do you have a word?
Yes, I got a word. Okay.
Well, now I don't. Yeah. You know what? I do have a good word for this week. Let's see if it works. So sit back, grab some.
Hope.
It's infrastructure time. You're listening to the best show, the only show, Chip Chat on Beltway Radio and Beyond.
Sweeps.
All right, welcome back to Chip Chat here on Beltway Radio and Beyond.
Yes,
Took me a
that's
second.
it. That's okay
That's
with
the
it.
name of this network. I'm Heroes Chip. With me is Tez.
Let's pop it out.
All right, so we have a list time tonight, but before we go through the list, we need to do a little bit of setup. The things that you need to know. Fortunately, the good folks at Axios know how to write in a style that can keep our attention for the 30 seconds we can pay attention to anything these days.
Smart brevity.
Yep.
Shout out to Mike Allen.
House Speaker Dumb Kevin was... No, that's not how they wrote it.
I was like, that's not smart brevity.
House Speaker Dumb Kevin has given Fox News' Tucker exclusive access to, it says 41,000 hours, actually 44,000 hours of Capitol surveillance footage from the January 6th riot, generously called a riot, called attempted coup.
Yeah.
Carlson TV producers were on Capitol Hill last week and began digging through the trove, which included multiple camera angles from all over the Capitol grounds, which they're going to be airing in excerpts over the coming weeks. His show, Tucker's show,
Tucker's show.
I tuned in. I went to check it before I came up here. It's still on the air. Tuckems' show is pretty famously not believing in reality and has downplayed this event tremendously, and even going so far as to say it didn't happen, and that it was Antifa or that it was the FBI that did it, or he calls the people who were arrested and some of which have been convicted political prisoners. It's all very funny if it wasn't so awful.
Right.
Now, some of the footage that he got is stuff that we've seen before because the J6 committee had it.
Yeah.
And there are people who have accused them, none of them who are reasonable people, but there are people who accuse the J6 committee of sort of editing this footage to make a point and leaving out the sweet, gentle parts of it.
Yeah, you know, after they spray bear spray at people, you know,
and
they
beat the cops to death, you know, kill several people, you know.
Maybe we didn't hear enough. I'm a patriot.
Right, yeah. So just to like let everybody know that you can edit anything to say anything. Most of the late night comedians have already made that joke by editing Tucker calling himself a bunch of things.
Yeah.
But we here at Chip Chat, with our crack reporting team, have dug up our list of what the producers over there at Tucker Carlson are doing with this footage. So we know because we've got a person on the inside who is feeding us the details.
Yep.
Okay. You want to go over the you want to go over the list?
Sure. Let's go.
All right. What is the first, and please expand on this as much as you think necessary. What is the first thing he's actually going to do with this?
Well, he's going to publish the locations of all the security cameras and routes taken to secure the congressional leadership so that the coup works next time. And there's going to be a next time.
Yeah, right. This is the most obviously dangerous part of this, is that
Tucker
is going to show the people who attacked the Capitol where they should have turned left at Albuquerque. This is bad.
Yeah.
It's a little like giving the Soviets a map of the Pentagon.
Yeah.
Like, don't do that, Tucker, please. I know he would.
Of course, but yeah, I don't even have many words for this. I guess once these people are elected in this crazy system, and then like the fact that you would give this and again, J6 committee, right? This tapes have been out there. I mean, but no one had, to my knowledge, I don't know I was about to say a journalism outfit or more propaganda arm of the Republican Party.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's
no analog here.
Yeah, I don't even know how
J6 gave secret footage to Maddow.
Yeah, no.
Because that's not legitimate behavior.
Yes.
And they wouldn't do that. And you know what footage Dumb Kevin should play?
Oh, God. Yes, I know
is
exactly.
Him screaming about how he nearly got killed.
Yes, that's the footage
and how desperate he is for Trump to call this shit off. Dumb Kevin is part of that footage.
To be honest, once he gets put out as speaker, they're going to be playing that on Fox News.
100% they are. They're going to be showing him fleeing for his life, pleading for his life, calling him a baby,
Is this
calling
the speaker
him weak.
You want?
Yeah, right.
Hey,
Yeah.
I can see
That's
it
the
now.
ad. The ad is right now.
I got it here. Look, I already know how this goes
Speaker
down.
George Santos would like you to know what former Speaker Dumb Kevin was. Yeah, that's what it's going to look like.
I don't. Again, this first part is very
It's
concerning.
MTG's next
God.
campaign ad.
Yeah.
You want this idiot as your speaker?
Call it off.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. This is it. I mean, it's scary, right? You shouldn't like.
This
again,
is very scary.
very scary.
And
So-
this is on the list of this list time on what is nominally a comedy
right,
show.
exactly.
Specifically so we can state the obvious
out
that
up front, right?
this is not a joke. We are about to make fun of it. We make fun of everything.
Everything, yeah.
But this is not a joke.
Yeah, it's really not. And we know that specific network fuels violence. I mean, and I'm pretty sure
It
that
is violence.
Yeah,
the network is violence. Tucker's previous specials have been about cows getting turned inside out by aliens, as if it's 1992 and he's the National Enquirer. What?
it does so big. It does numbers, and that I don't know.
Rage drives ratings.
Yeah, it does.
Which is why we want to announce tonight, fuck Tucker Carlson and everybody who watches him. Tune into this show next week to find out what else we hate.
Right. You watched them tonight.
So we flipped over. My wife likes to flip over and see what they're up to.
Yes, I agree with that.
For a couple of minutes at a time, but it's very difficult to watch. And here we are on the anniversary of the invasion of Ukraine by Russia, and split screen. MSNBC's got a special about that because that's news.
As every outfit seems to have this evening, as you should.
That's right, except for Tucker.
Yeah.
And Tucker is out here yelling about the woke mafia trying to make flowers in Oregon council members or something. I don't know what it was. None of it made sense. But it wasn't about Ukraine. So anyway, okay.
Yes, on to the funny.
On to the funny stuff.
Yes.
All right, number 2. What is Tucker going to do with this footage? He's going to spend a lot of time scrutinizing which Capitol vending machines do in fact have M&Ms. Because
he loves M&Ms.
That's his focus.
It's his focus.
Yeah, especially the green ones.
Yes,
If you're looking tonight, we've got Tucker. Here, look, Tucker.
We got him.
Hey, you hear that? Tucker, look, this is your green. She's right here on the package. I'm tapping her, Tucker.
Oh, God. Grace, oh, my God. Wording, phrasing.
Phrasing. Are we not doing phrasing anymore?
Oh, my God. All right, number 3.
Yeah,
jerk off the chance of hang Mike Pence.
Yeah. I love Brian.
Hey, that's the great man. You know what
graphic is.
You know what Mike Pence
is
is saying right there?
Hey, Mike Pence!
No.
Oh, no.
I'm ready! It could be that, too. It could easily be that.
You keep interrupting.
Okay.
Another person who drives violence.
Number 4. Number 4 thing that Tucker is going to actually do with this footage. He's going to spend hours watching Capitol Police hero Gene Goodman leading the rioters away from the congressional chambers and secretly wish that he had chosen the good guy side.
Oh, God.
He had an option.
Yeah, he did have an option.
Go back to his days. All right, anyway. All right, number 5.
Number 5.
You got a good one.
Yeah, he's going to put on a Liz Cheney wig and present his recut version of the day to his very appreciative goldfish.
Yes, that's exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
You
You can see him sitting there with his Liz Cheney wig.
Yeah, I mean,
Doing
or
his,
just any wig. He seems.
He might be wearing one now. It's hard to know. All right, this one actually took some deep reporting to find this out. He is going to replay the footage, of course, to himself, but he's going to turn up the brightness on his monitor and use it for testicle tanning, which is another thing Tucker famously talked about on one of his specials. Also in his Liz Cheney wig.
Right.
Yes, of course.
I feel like with the testicle tanning, like I know we like to attack the viewers of this program, not this program, but Fox
his program.
and his program. But I feel like even then, somebody's like, Mary, I don't agree with that.
Yeah, right.
I feel like.
But we want to be very clear.
Yeah,
Tucker viewers should very much engage in testicle tanning. It's critical for you. Nobody else,
Oh, God.
but all the It is approved by Charles Darwin. Okay, sorry.
Oh my God. All right.
What?
That's your PSA.
Yeah. It
Piece of
reduces
shit
your
announcement.
PSA. It's supposed to reduce your PSA.
Oh God. Anyways, moving on. All right. Number 7. Present a special cut just exactly 16 minutes long for none other than Matt Gaetz.
Yeah.
For reasons.
Right. 16
reasons.
minutes long. Not 18 minutes long.
Wasn't he?
16 minutes long.
So they're not prosecuting him.
I mean,
Hey.
yeah, this time.
It'll happen again.
Yeah, I'm sure the Venmos.
Oh.
All right. Speaking of prosecution, we're going to prosecute an ad break.
Ooh,
Or something.
Ads.
It's
Yes.
not ads.
It's not ads.
We're just going to take a break.
We're going to take a break.
If you would like to run an ad
yes,
on Chip Chat,
yes.
you can pay us. We won't run your ad.
What?
No, we'll run
what?
your
It's
ad.
going on,
Yeah.
anyway, you know what? You took it.
Interrupting.
Yes, exactly. Yo, interrupting the money.
I don't know who would pay to advertise on this network
Somebody.
or this show.
Which
product do you think would like to be associated? Whoa, the One Fresh Pillow folks.
Yeah.
For sure.
What's the name? Is it Rue One Apparel?
yeah,
Yeah,
they're fans.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, you haven't ruined their reputation yet.
I don't know. We got to get Bell somehow.
We've been trying. They did retweet us.
They
a
did
few
retweet
times.
a few times, but yeah, again. The slur.
Hop slam.
Hop slam. It brings out the slur.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's
It's a great line.
Such a good line.
I don't know why they don't want to put that on the can. It seems like so
Yeah,
obvious.
what's that crazy water company? No, is it Liquid
Liquid
Death?
Death. Yeah.
Go full Liquid Death.
Yeah. Come on. Brings out the slur. All right, we're going to take a break. We're not going to pay any bills with the break, though.
No.
We're going to be right back. You're listening to Chip Chat on Beltway Radio and beyond.
Sweeps.
Street balls.
It's been hard without you. You being here emotionally. You disappeared. Abandonment issues is what I feel. I'm trying to be strong. Be here for real. Strong for me, strong for us, strong for you, strong for two. But it ain't easy. And yes, it's hard. But baby, I'm trying. I'm trying for love. I'm trying for us. I'm strong for us. I'm trying to what you're going through. I'm trying. What you're going. You need to hold it down for us. I'll be strong for us. So you go through. Yeah. You need to. I'll be here for us. I'll be strong for us. Yeah. To know you're hurting, but baby, I'm praying for us. I know that you know I'm down for you, and we will see this through. We will make it. Our love's not situational. Baby, I love you. Baby, I love you. Enough to see us through. Baby, I love you. My heart beats for you. And I will stay.
All right, welcome back to Chip Chat here on Beltway Radio and beyond. I'm your host, Chip. With me is Tez.
What's popping up?
All right, now we've come to the part of the show called The Rundown. This is where I tell you about some stuff that's gone on in the news. All right, top story, Dateline, Kyiv. There's a war.
Still going on.
Not in Kyiv, though.
Not in Kyiv. Which is,
Not much, anyway.
No.
Occasionally some
every
air
every
raid
now and
sirens.
then, yeah.
You know how we found out there was air raid sirens there? Because Joey B went to go visit, and we heard them while he was walking around.
That is true.
So Joe Biden did the most Joe Biden thing you could possibly imagine. He took a train. He came up with a way to take a train in another country for a total of 20 hours.
Yeah.
Which had to be thrilling. And I hear they have ice cream. So it's all the things at once.
He loves trains.
And ice cream. And Corvettes and aviators.
Right.
He's everybody's grandpa. So, yeah, he went to a war zone. And this is a huge deal. Because this is a real war against an enemy that we know to be ruthless, dishonest, not to engage in the sort of quote unquote rules of war to the extent that such and such a thing exists. And it was a risk.
Yeah.
And as we've learned from Fox News, Joe Biden is a wimpy bitch. But as it turns out, no. I haven't seen dumb Kevin go to Kyiv.
No.
Or Ted Cruz. Or the Orange Menace. I was thinking about it, though.
Menace.
I was thinking about that, actually. That if Trump had been president at this point a year ago, when the Russians invaded Ukraine, would Kyiv be in Russia? And I said, absolutely. And then I thought to myself, I think by now Warsaw would be in Russia as well.
Yeah, easily.
And that thought scared the absolute crap out of me because that's millions and millions of people. And that is exactly where we were, at the Cold War.
Yeah.
We wanted not to be that. And Poland's in NATO.
But
They are.
like they are in NATO, but they're in NATO, and it seems to depend who's at the helm of the executive branch here in the United States of who's going to protect.
Of whether we're in NATO or not.
More.
That's kind of the thing. So, like,
Which is
you
kinda
could imagine
insane.
a situation
That's insane.
where after Putin rolled tanks into Kyiv, he rolled tanks into Poland, daring NATO to respond, knowing that Trump would keep the Americans out of it, and basically putting this on the Brits, the French, and the Germans to go to war. The Germans don't like going to war, don't have really the capacity to do it. And trying to invoke Article 5, he could have single-handedly reestablished the Soviet Union, which is what he wants to do, and broke NATO completely because it would have seen the Americans
of course.
drop their Article 5
It was over with. Yeah, everything falls apart at that point. Everything would fall apart.
The whole thing is us standing over Europe going, yeah, all right, come on, Russia. Like, that's the thing. But no, that's not what happened.
Thankfully.
Joe Biden is president. Joe Biden did the right thing and has been supporting Ukraine, and now Joe Biden has gone to Ukraine.
Yes.
He hung out with my cousin, Volodymyr. Just saying. And they had a good time. He showed him around. They went walking around, which is not normal. Interestingly, one of the criticisms on the right was, how dare Zelensky wear his war outfit and sweater and T-shirt with the president of the United States? He shows some goddamn respect.
I hate it. Yes,
as long as he didn't have a tan suit, it's probably all right.
I was about to say, Lord, if we get to the tan suit.
It's similar.
Yeah, I mean, also, too, he's at war.
Zelensky's as much a soldier as his soldiers are. He is in the trenches. He is going out there and rallying the troops.
That's a different man than I saw last year.
Absolutely.
Completely different than I was.
We talk about the way the presidency ages you shit. A war?
I remember sitting there, I was like, I hope they can do this with this
Churchill
guy.
had hair before the war.
Yeah, that's real. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, woo.
Yeah.
Also, the courage of any president to go into that situation, because here's some other things that's worth talking about. The United States doesn't just do things like this that are that risky without checking a lot of boxes.
Yes, one of those boxes is checking Moscow under. Yes.
That's exactly right.
Yes.
So what we know is that they deconflicted.
Yes.
Okay. The U.S. and the Russians, for as much contention as we have in a lot of places, we have these channels
Yes.
where we deconflict.
Right.
we have talked about on this show the deconfliction of the airspace over Syria during the time that both the Russians and the Americans were running airstrikes against ISIS in that area, because we have to make sure that we don't accidentally
Yeah, no one needs any
trigger a world war.
accidents. No one needs accidents. If you want to go and run your world, try to start a world war by invading another country, so be it, Putin.
Right.
Thing. But we're not about to have an accident turn everything to shit. Like,
And so as a result, of course, before Biden went to Kyiv, there was a communique sent. There was some deconfliction done. Hey, Russia, we're going to do this. It's going to look like a surprise. If you act like you know ahead of time, we're going to fucking blow you up. And if you even so much as look at him sideways, we're going to blow you up 6 times. And the Russians were like, we understand the deal because we do the same thing whenever we move Lottie around.
same. Yeah.
Because we know where he is all the time, too.
Yeah.
We could cruise missile him just
That's
as
why
much as they
people-
could Ted Cruz missile us.
Someone suggested. I was like, no, that's not.
That's not what we do.
Yeah, that's
Not
not.
since Nixon made it illegal,
Yeah, right. It can't be out.
and not since they're white.
Yeah. Oh yes. Yeah,
We'll
sorry
do
about
that
that.
to
Yeah. To white heads.
Brown
of state.
heads of state.
Anyways, that's a whole.
That
different.
is so damn insane.
Yeah.
That guy.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, the Russians did know about it, but we managed to handle that. So then he leaves. He gets back on his train, and he goes to Warsaw, where he was a year ago.
Yeah. Yes, he was. Yeah.
And a year ago, in the same spot, he gave a speech saying we need to rally together. We need to come to Ukraine's defense. This is an unprovoked, unjust, completely irrational attack by the Russians on sovereign territory, and they need to get fucked.
And as I remember, trying to sell this as, again, it's not just a war between Russia and Ukraine.
It's a war between democracy
yeah.
and non-democracy.
Yeah.
Right. So now he is, a year later, he goes back to the same spot in front of the presidential palace there in Warsaw with the full backing of who is otherwise a right-wing lunatic president, Duda, in Poland. But he is very not wanting to be part of Russia again.
Yeah, because everybody's right wing, but
Until they want NATO to be there.
Yeah, swoop in because they don't want to be Russian.
Right.
They don't want to be that far right.
They already had that one.
Yes.
So he was like, nah, we're doing this thing. So Joey B goes there and he gives a speech that has been described as Reagan-like in the way he did it. And to be honest, this was Biden at his best.
Yeah.
He was forceful. He was mean. He was like, I dare you to do it, you son of a bitch.
Yeah.
He was every bit the sort of grumpy old man with a big giant shotgun sitting on his porch.
And just for all of what this is and what you want the chief executive to do is what he did at the State of the Union, right? For the people of the country.
Yep.
To make us feel, all right, we're going to be okay. And then what he's doing here as, again, the commander-in-chief of the army, of the military, being able to navigate both those at this age is kind of insane.
It's the statesman thing.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not like this is new to him, though.
Yeah,
He knows how to do
this
this
better than
almost anybody.
Anybody, yeah.
And so this is why when people are like, well, he's old, and he's because this is experience. This is what experience looks like.
And he's always wanted this too. So it's kind of
he's run this whole scenario in his mind 1,000 times.
Exactly.
He knows exactly what he's doing.
Yeah.
So he tells Russia to get fucked, and then a day later, Vladdy has his own speech.
He said, yeah, okay,
in front of all his people, where they're not allowed to shout at him like Marjorie Taylor Greene.
No.
And they
praise.
Yeah.
Claps.
And his speech references the thing. He still doesn't call it a war, but he's also doesn't seem like he's declaring victory exactly. And it
just seemed like he was talking for a time. And
for 2 hours.
So I talked for a long time.
Yeah.
You did this. You caused this.
But then that's the thing is that he blamed the West and the United States for him invading Ukraine.
Well, again, he stuck right to his same platform as you all in NATO have encroached on my sovereignty. I don't know how that equals that you have to, that once we've, no one invaded Russia. I mean, maybe if you think about the Russia that when I was playing Street Fighter 2,
So that's the
that's
thing.
the Russia, with Zangief in it. That
Yeah.
Russia, maybe that's the Russia.
Yeah, NATO has invaded Soviet Russia.
Yes.
Because Latvia, Lithuania,
All those places aren't Russian.
Estonia, right. They all are actual countries. But
Get you mad 'cause
he's
you're-
mad at that.
I know you're mad because, again, your story didn't work out. People didn't want that story. They
That's
want a
true.
Burger King and McDonald's.
That's right.
All right? And
We showed them not bread lines on CNN, and they're like, holy shit. You mean they have meat? Can we eat some of that? We'd love to try that.
They
The
didn't.
generation that had never had chicken.
oh my God.
And then we showed them a McNugget. They were like,
God.
oh.
So I get how I'm not empathetic to it, but I understand how what he's grown up in, and to watch that, and like, because it's identity, it's nation, it's that whole thing, story about like of a nation. He seems to be like that, the weird historian, the revisionist.
Well, it's sort of like
Once.
the people who are railing against critical race theory, that they have this strange concept of an America that was, and they idealize it. Vladdy's got this idealized version of a Soviet Union that wasn't, but in his mind, that's what it was.
Yeah.
And he wants it back, God damn it. He's just like all the Trump voters. I want the 1950s back. And you're like, but no.
As I remember him coming into office initially, and I was rather young, but I remember people feeling that he was going to be the what's the name, the crackdown of corruption, and that was.
No, we didn't. I remember he's a KGB. And that was all I needed to know to not trust Putin. And then W was like, I looked into his soul, and he's a good man.
There you go. That's what I'm saying. That's what I was
not.
saying. Because when I say you want to say you, I'm just saying the collective is the country.
What are you doing?
That's what I'm saying. Is I remember that in 2000. Yeah, I was like,
Don't
what?
let him and Candy and Michelle fool you. George W. is a bad man, and he's a war criminal, and he's also pretty stupid because he fell for that shit.
Great painter.
Yeah, right.
He's
Oh, he's so
great.
cute as an old man.
He's a great painter.
So harmless.
Yo, I don't think he's. Oh my God. Yes, everything you said is very true. But he said that about this guy.
I looked into his
to
soul.
the American people.
He did. He said
That's
it
what I'm
right to
saying.
me in the TV.
Yeah,
He looked me in the
exactly.
eye.
And I was like,
I look, I didn't believe a thing George Bush said no matter what, but not because I thought he was lying, but because I think he just doesn't know where the fuck he is most of the time. It's not the same thing. He's not intentionally malicious when it comes to lying. It's just, he's just dumb.
that was Dick Cheney.
Yeah, right. Very different. Speaking of people who are as old as dirt,
Oh God.
the former guy,
Yeah, 45.
he's changed the club name of his fan club to Club 47 now. He's anticipating a win.
Oh wow.
I
That's
will-
how. No, you don't do that.
Yes, yes,
oh God.
Getting it tattooed already.
Oh no.
Yeah. All right.
Gonna get
Georgia.
mopped in the primary.
Yeah, I know, right?
That's what's gonna be so crazy.
Meatball's gonna wipe the
Yo,
floor with him.
right. Oh my God.
All right. Dateline, Georgia. Fonnie Willis.
Yes.
She caught a grand jury.
Yep.
This is not the kind of grand jury that hands down an indictment. It's a kind of grand jury that allows her to subpoena stuff and does a report.
Right.
The report came out so much as the judge would allow it, which was to say there's imminent indictments coming and stay tuned. That was basically what we got from the report. But there's no rule that says that the jurors,
The jurors said, hey,
themselves
they said we got something to say.
can't talk.
They were-
And the head juror, her name is Emily Coors, was like, I want this. First of all, she volunteered for the 4-person job, apparently because nobody else would take it, which means that this is a leader. This is somebody who wants that spotlight. This is what I would have done 100%.
Yeah.
Then she immediately, as soon as she's able to, calls up NBC News, is like, I'd love to talk. So they send their reporter who's been covering this the entire time. I think her name is Blaine Alexander, maybe. And she goes and talks to her, and there's a 45-minute long interview with her, and it gets released in drips and drabs. But The thing that's important about this is you should go watch the interview more than just listen to it, because there's certain things that Emily Kors can't say, but she cannot say them with her face much louder. And so
I feel like even in the words though, like some of these quotes, you can feel it even in the quotes themselves.
There are definitely some names you expect, she said, and that it's not a short list of people who are about to be indicted.
Oh.
She also says, I don't think there are any giant plot twists coming. I don't think there's any giant, that's not the way I expected this all to go moments. I would not expect you to be shocked. Now, that could read a couple of ways, but that's why I say go watch this, because when you look at her do this, the way she's looking over the glasses she's not wearing is like, she was asked whether the list could include the former guy himself. She smiled it could be, but said potentially it might. I haven't seen a face tell a story like that since, I don't know, this face, which tells the story of don't watch this show. But there was, so there's more to this. Turns out the highlight of her time, what was the highlight of her time?
Well, hold on. Is this the person who she thought was the most honest?
No.
Oh, no. Then hold on. What is this one?
Her favorite part, according to the interview, was shaking Rudy's hand. She's really excited, despite the fact that it's Rudy Giuliani. But no.
America's governor, man.
Mayor.
Didn't
even make it the governor.
Governor was moved like the governor. Could have thought he was the governor. Now, oh, God, that's a whole crazy time. Mine was the most honest person.
The most honest guy.
Oh my God, because I can imagine him being like, I'll sing.
100%.
I swear I see it, and it's Lindsey Graham.
Yes. They were like, state your name. He did it. I was there. Mr. Graham, we haven't even asked you that. Yes, you just want to know what your name is. And
can you just protect me when I get on the plane back to South Carolina? You know, they harassed me in the airport.
They called me all these names. They said my limp wrist was limper than they are. Like he was singing like the bird that he is.
Yeah, that's what happened with that. When he said he was honest, I was like, oh yeah, okay.
You know what that meant.
Again, I know exactly what that meant.
You know, the question was, did Donald Trump tell you to call Georgia's elected officials?
Yeah, easy, simple one.
And he went, yes.
Yes.
Yes, he did. Just like Mother said.
Oh, God, yes. Right.
Okay, apropos of nothing, or everything, there was a new mayor's poll this week, by the way.
Oh,
turns out that Joey B is making an improvement. His approval rating is up to 49% with registered voters. Almost to that 50% mark. It's been a steady climb.
Jeez.
Turns out, turning the economy around, making jobs... infrastructure, winning a war in Ukraine without a single American dead. Y'all keep underestimating Joey B. That's a mistake. Don't do that. Don't do that. It's a wily old man.
He seems like the strongest contender for the Democratic nominee. I don't know. Who you about to throw up there against? I don't know.
Beto, stay home.
What is Beto?
For the love of God, Beto, stay home.
What is his track record compared?
He's terrible. Beto, stay home.
Like, if someone's running on like the record, I mean, they're gonna throw this train catastrophe. But other than that, like,
that's Trump's catastrophe.
Yeah.
Did you see the headline in the Philly Inquirer? Trump went to go to Ohio where the train disaster was. He brought a bunch of cases of old Trump water that's a decade old. And he told everybody how he made the Big Ten go back to playing football so that Ohio State could play instead of focusing on the tragedy. But more importantly, it was his regulations that caused this train wreck or lack thereof. And so the headline on the Philly Inquirer was, Trump returns to the scene of the crime.
That's funny.
Which is exactly what happened.
I think, though, yes, I can see him adding to the deregulation of this, but the railroad lobby in this country has had this government by the balls for a long fucking time.
Since Conrail.
It's insane. It's insane. Like, how they're allowed to maneuver the way they do is just very frustrating.
The unions need to go fight Harder.
Yeah, or like we said before, maybe, I don't know. We weren't in the right place to fuck up the economy at all. But I don't know. What else? People aren't listening. And now we have that black plume of smoke. It looks insane.
It's the image of it is bad. And Norfolk Southern's refusal to get in line. Like if I were them, the easy thing is, whatever every regulation is, we're doubling it. They want 2 people on a train, we're 4 people on a train. They want 6 hours to inspect, we want 12 hours to
do
inspect.
it for
just
the beginning.
To get out there.
Yeah, and like you could dial the
we are exceeding every expectation and every regulation by 50% at the minimum. And like we're investing all this money, and we're gonna be like they could get out there. Nobody remembers BP.
No
fucked up
one
the
remembers
entire
it.
ocean.
No one remembers. It fucked up the whole ocean.
And nobody even remembers that because they had a great PR system. Instead, Norfolk Southern's got some bumpkin out there
2 middle fingers up,
talking about, I gave him $25,000. The fuck he takes one. And you're like, come on, dude. You can't even do.
It's
you
a
can't even
black
fake
plume of chemical smoke.
Yeah,
I don't like it. Looks. I don't know. Again, but back to his poll numbers. Again, he just does everything in a slow and steady pace, and it's already 1-1 race.
Y'all got it wrong.
Yeah.
You underestimated Joe Biden. Don't underestimate Joe Biden. Don't underestimate Jim Clyburn.
Also, don't underestimate the voters. I think the
real.
I think the voters are not blind. And
Double the turnout in the Wisconsin special election for the primary on their Supreme Court situation. Double the turnout of the last one of those. It was still only 20%, but still double the turnout.
And your nasty Supreme Court is about to drop another bunch of bombs coming this June.
Kansas went the other way. Kentucky went the other way. I mean, the people are not quiet.
Yes, they're not.
Vox Populi, Elon. You dummy. Right, we got new sound effects.
Oh, I love it.
Way to go, Brian. All right, you want to take a break?
Yeah, we'll take a short break.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll have even more of this terrible show. You're listening to Chip Chat on Beltway Radio and beyond.
Street balls.
I'm a man with soul, in control and effects. So what the heck? Rock the discotheque, so this groove is what's next. Attack, react, exact, or match, I'll move you in. A strong song as long as you groove to this. I keep the crowd loud when you hype. Do damage on stage and injure the mic. As I shoot the gift, and see stand still. While my rhymes stick to you like Skippy and Chip. Feel my blood fist on my death kiss. The rap soloist, you don't want none of this. Supreme in this era, I reign with terror. When I grab the mic, believe you're gonna hear a fascinating rhyme as I enchant them. So let's all sing the Big Daddy anthem. Go with the flow, my rhymes grow like an afro. I entertain the gain and cane, I never have no problem. I can sneeze, sniffle, and cough. Even if I stutter, I will still come on. Cause rappers can't understand the mics I rip. They sure enough ain't a baby. That's right. For the basement, and my man CL's gonna kick it for you like this.
From the heights, not with Amorite, simple, I can do this like Popeye the Brutus. I'm your host like a stewardess.
Yeah.
Fly with the neighborhood, hijacking fella. So prepare for landing and crash into a cellar.
Right.
Bodies in the Buddha cloud, misty in the tune. Like a show on nights, a figure eight in a lagoon. Repeat rock, the complete lock and beat stock. Now all the horny heifers wanna dangle on mine. Down by the dungeon with the cracks on the wall. Buffoon, I'm like a mink while you soon to pimp a raccoon stall. Vocal arrangement, ready, set to hit the pavement.
The mighty microphone, graphical, gets grammatical, grotesque, mechanical, don't kinetic fanatic, playing kinetic master. Etiquette has to pass the rules of etiquette master. Capacitate intelligence to maximize action. Dialogue deaf enough to come closed caption. Medic on the mic, let one verse elapse in the vein of the brain of a young person. Stab, excelling automatically, you just can't fess. I pay my respects to ancestors, a rap ideology and overall sound. Snatch the apparatus like a swift rebound. In a battle of wit, true talk takes the trophy.
All right, welcome back to Chip Chat here on Beltway Radio and beyond. I'm your host, Chip. With me is Tez.
What's popping up?
All right, so this week, instead of a guest, we're going to talk about something that happened in the news, but it's not a rundown, that is kind of important. Now, Tez, you are a person of color.
Yes.
Black. I am not that color, at least not in this country.
Not in this country.
Yeah, it depends where I'm at. So we think it's probably best for you to explain why this thing I'm about to read is so directly hurtful to you and to other people who might feel like you. Does that seem like a fair thing?
Which I'd be interested. I would be interested if other black folks feel this way. I think there's some, but
Right.
we'll see.
This features some interesting characters. So I'll
there's a
just
lot.
read this one out here. Utah Governor Spencer Cox. Dynamite name for a governor, by the way.
Especially from Utah.
Yeah, right. Utah Governor Cox. Governor Cox on Monday hit back at MTG's call for a, quote, national divorce of Republican and Democratic states, saying that the lawmakers' rhetoric is, quote, evil. Pause. Georgia, 2 Democratic senators.
Yeah.
Not sure what color she thinks it is, but I know it's not black. Okay. Green on Monday suggested that the U.S., quote, separate by red states and blue states and shrink the federal government. Again, demonstrating how little she understands about there are states that have statewide elected officials of both parties, so that's not how I don't know how to explain that. Virginia has 2 Democratic senators and a Republican governor, all one statewide. Are we a blue state or a red state? I think we're just a Commonwealth, to be honest. Okay. Re-upping her suggestion of a, quote, divorce to solve the nation's division, Cox countered that this country needs marriage counseling instead. Cox, big fan of marriage.
Of course.
Because he's from Utah.
Yeah.
Green repeated her national divorce calls Monday as she criticized Biden's trip to Kyiv for a surprise meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky ahead of the 1-year mark of the Russian invasion. She said, quote, impeach Biden or give us a national divorce.
There's so much crazy about this story.
So apart from the mechanics of why she doesn't know what color state she lives in, you, Tez, as a person for whom the Civil War looks like something else than it does to people who are white.
Yeah.
What does this sound like to you?
First of all, she's not a smart lady.
No.
All right.
Serious lady.
Or a serious lady, because the way you're suggesting to break these states along parties is just doesn't make any sense based on what you said, based on how this 2-party system works inside this country and how you have, for lack of a better word, purple states in a lot, like at this point, in many of the southern states. At this point.
There's lots of red people in New York.
Yeah, and
there's lots of blue people in Alabama.
Yeah. Specifically to the Civil War, it's, white folks, y'all not about to get off that easy, okay?
Right.
Yeah, I think that's as simple as I can put it, right? You're not about to get off that easy. A lot of, and also, too, for me, I look at this even in a different lens as an immigrant to this country.
Oh, yeah.
As an immigrant to this country, what the war symbolizes, right, is slavery, right? It's the cause of
what the war is
What's
about, yes.
Right? It symbolizes
It's in every
slavery.
article of secession, yes.
Yeah, it's in every one of their state.
Every single one of them.
Every one that says it, and it goes into their constitutions after that. That's
Yes.
what they're here to do. But there's so many lives that are lost inside of that. In that war, it's the greatest war that we've
There's
had.
23,000 dead at Antietam
Yeah,
alone.
in one battle. In one
Lasts
battle.
a day and a half.
And for one, the black people who live in these, as she says, red states, for the black people that live in this country, that war was fought again for freedom, right? And they were the ones who were able to turn the tide and reunify, reconnect the union.
They had to forgive.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been saying this all week to my wife, but there is no greater example of American patriotism than black women.
Yeah,
At
not
every
at all.
single turn,
Yeah.
they have saved this country, restored this country, been the foundation of this country. What exactly is she talking about happening to the black folks in those red states?
Yeah.
What exactly does that mean?
I mean, I didn't hear her say are they supposed to, do you start shipping them out? force, like, what does that start? What does
Well,
that
what
look
she
like?
did say is that then if blue state people moved to the red states, they couldn't vote for 5 years or something like that.
What,
And
until you go through indoctrination?
how would you know who they are? And I mean, except for
Also-
knowing that they're black, I guess.
Also,
but
does she believe that these states should still have access to like the federal government?
So
Who is the federal government for them?
the thing that is most, right. That is
Who
always
is that federal? Like,
that is always the question of the states' rights people. What level of government will you accept as legitimate? If you think the federal government shouldn't tell states what to do, fine. Let the states figure it out. Let's take Virginia
Right,
as
yeah,
an example.
right.
Okay? Would you say that the people who are in Richmond have any idea what it's like for people in Fairfax versus what it's like for people in Roanoke?
Right.
And the
Yeah.
answer is no. Okay, fine. Then it needs to be decided at a county level. Cool, let's do it at a county level. Do you think that the people who live out in Clifton with the horse farms in Fairfax County know anything about what it's like to live in the parts of Fairfax that are inside the Beltway with apartment buildings?
Right.
No, they don't know shit about that. All right, we're going to do it by zip code. Like, what level of local, quote unquote, local control is legitimate to these people?
yeah,
There isn't.
there's none.
What they mean is they want to be the ones to make the rules. That's issue number one.
It's going to be chaos and pandemonium when they make the rules.
Well, right, because they're not consistent, and you have to be able to like accept the things that are not to your liking in order to get things that are to your liking. Furthermore, she wrote this on Twitter.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, she tweeted it probably from her phone. The reason her phone works is because the FCC, a Federal Communications Commission, regulates the airwaves that could otherwise be blanketed by somebody with a giant transmitter and a lot of shit to say and a fake radio station. We could put an antenna on top of this building that
Right.
broadcasts at 1,000,000 watts right now,
Yeah.
except for the FCC. Everything she does is at the benefit of the federal government and all of those blue states that donate to her shitty little red county. It wouldn't even be like economically viable
At all.
They wouldn't have a school. They wouldn't have a library. They wouldn't have a fire department. They wouldn't have her stupid CrossFit gyms.
Yeah.
And she depends on the internet, which is the federal government, the Federal Trade Commission. She depends on everything. She's such a fucking leech. She's a welfare queen, this lady.
Yeah, I mean, again, I couldn't argue that. And we hear this a lot. Everybody's clamoring for let's break everything up, which is so crazy. And
We've even done it.
Yes,
We've talked about locking them all up in Idaho, which is fair.
Not good. That's not good. And I always am the one like preaching that, yo, you kind of have to keep the union of the states. I get what the fuck Lincoln was on. I get it what he was on like, yo, like, if y'all even gonna keep doing what y'all doing down there, fine. But we cannot break up, like, by the definition of breaking up the states is like, or even suggesting this to me is treason.
And you're suggesting anarchy,
and
essentially.
yeah, like you're like, what?
Because there again, what happens when the states can't agree county by county? You know, what are we really talking about here? We watched Hamilton this week in honor of George Washington, birthday,
Right, yeah.
President's Day. And, what we're watching is this battle between the folks who call themselves the Federalists.
Yes,
I
right.
want you to pay attention to the words there.
The words there, yeah.
The Federalists versus the Jeffersonians
Yep.
and the Madisons who want the states' rights.
Yes, we know.
And if you look at that, what they're talking about is they want their states' rights. They want to do what they want to do. They want to be insulated, isolated, separated. And the Federalists are saying, no, no, no. We need to approach this all as a group. We have to assume the responsibilities of some in order to benefit everybody. And like, we all need to be kind of collective in our behavior and consistent in our behavior across all of this. What is the name of the organization that the goddamn picks the Supreme Court justices and the judges
the most states' rights
for
judges.
these Trumpista right wing, not even Trumpistas, these right wing borderline Nazi motherfuckers. What do they name their group?
They're a great group. They know exactly what they're doing too. The Federalist
The
Society.
Federalist Society. The Republican Party was founded by a guy whose sole purpose in life was to preserve
It's
the Union.
really crazy,
It was
man.
to be as anti-states' rights as you could get. He literally started, prosecuted, and won a war to squash states' rights.
Yeah.
And here they are out there claiming to be the party of Lincoln, talking about we want to separate the country. The party of Lincoln is talking about the dissolution of the United States.
And I understand, like, for folks who probably don't want to go like too deep into the history, because I kind of envy you. Because again, when I think about it, I'm
Must
like,
be nice.
I'm
Must
almost
be
like,
nice.
I'm like, this doesn't make. It does make sense, like, as you watch how they get here. Right, and just like the Republican Party after Lincoln, and just how they go to the
know what they
corporations.
turned into.
Yeah, and the things of that nature. But
the
even up
modern
into-
Republican Party needs to stop claiming him immediately.
Yeah, because that's not really what it. We're far from that. We're very far from
We
that.
Democrats are no longer claiming those states' rights assholes and saying, well, those were good Democrats. They're not.
Yeah.
That's not what we mean. And y'all who are advocating for being U.S. citizens, who use the words United States, who use the words Uncle Sam, who use anything with the U and an S next to each other. By the way, U.S. women's national team qualified this week, won the She Believes Cup, and pretty good group, likely to get out of the group. More ass whooping for the American women, and now they get paid.
Yes.
You want to be part of that? You want to join in the fun? You want to celebrate those victories with the red, white, and blue? You don't get to just fucking leave.
I, again, as a person who took the oath of allegiance to this country a week after January 6th, it's still one of those things where I'm looking at this like, and I feel very strong like that. Nah, we're not breaking up no union. And I'm in my soul, whether it comes down to like
that's the
small
thing. That's the thing you fight for.
Yeah.
That's the thing you fight. That's what the Ukrainians are literally fighting for now. They are fighting to keep their country physically intact.
And it's just like and again, you look at it like as the folks. Again, here's another one. We go back to this because it all goes back to like this exact war and what happens after this war, right? Why is Marjorie Taylor Greene a citizen of the United States of America?
She almost wasn't.
But right, she almost wasn't, right?
Because Lincoln said we need to reintegrate these people, these states with malice towards none, to bring those. That's the line that he gives in the second inaugural, that he says that we need to bring our brothers back into this country when the war is over.
Yeah.
And the Union has triumphed. We need to recognize that these people are still American and they never really left.
And the fact that you can be born in this nation, and because the 14th Amendment makes you a citizen, is one of the craziest.
It's one of the best things.
It's one of the best things, but like in nations around, like there's nothing like that written in. You're not like in England and all these other places. Nothing is really written in the sense of, hey, you have birthright citizenship. That is not. That's a concept that starts here.
So critically American that there was a long time ago, but there was a Supreme Court case that ruled that you couldn't strip somebody of their citizenship. And they ruled that it was against the constitutional prohibition against cruel and unusual punishment. That the idea of being a stateless person is so inhumane. We'll put you in the electric chair. We'll hang you and we'll kill you and we'll imprison you and ruin your communities and lives forever. But to make you stateless is absolutely off the list of options. And that is not the case in the rest of the world.
It's not the case.
People can be deported and stripped of their citizenship and just fucking gone.
Right, it's very, and again, that comes from Reconstruction amendments, that 14th Amendment, and again,
it was as much about integrating the formerly enslaved people into the United States as also
everybody else,
bringing those Confederates back into the United States.
You're born in the South. You're born into one of these districts that are carved up there. Yeah.
Your parents were citizens.
Yes, or your parents were
You are a citizen, thus basically fixing the fact that these idiots seceded for a little while.
Yeah.
You're back. You're in. You're good. You never left. You're legally the same as you were. Marjorie wouldn't be.
No.
And she wouldn't be able to vote for the 2 U.S. senators.
Yeah.
Raphael Warnock, Democrat, blue.
Yeah.
And John Ossoff, Democrat, blue, from her state. Which get it one more election, and it's a blue state.
It's curtains closed.
Yeah, come on.
The population change is insane. I mean, I don't know.
That's
though.
why she said the thing about like people move here, they can't vote for a little while.
I'm never gonna count out this disenfranchisement. Actually, I'll never say.
Don't count out how angry white people.
I will not count it. They will blow up the goddamn polling places.
That's the question I really wanted to get to about this. We had 2 stories about Georgia. We had the story about Fani Willis and her grand jury, and we've got the story about Marjorie Taylor Greene talking about secession. And I want to be clear that we're talking about. She's talking about secession,
even though it's secession between Democrats.
We
and
had a war about this.
Yeah.
What is going to be the reaction if Fulton County indicts Trump? Will they attack? Will there be violence? Will there be?
I don't think
a riot. What's going to happen?
I think there could be some like sparse things, but I don't even think in people's lives. I think everybody's full on economy. Most folks. I think there could be one-offs on there, but I think people are on. Everybody's wishing for a goddamn recession.
But
right,
it turns out Jay Powell might not be an idiot.
He might not be. Like
he might know what he's doing, and Yellen might not be an idiot either.
Exactly.
Turns out she knew what she was doing too.
The debt ceiling is
but they could try that, and they might end the $1 trillion coin is out there. So but supposing they indict Trump in Fulton County,
right,
and he tries to fight it, and they send the marshals and the federales. Do his people go and fight the federales and the marshals who are trying to extradite him and bring him in? Do they attack the courthouse? Is Fani Willis as good as dead? Does Governor Kemp move to protect the rule of law in his state?
Yeah.
Where he moved to protect the rule of law in the election, but is that the thing now? Like, I can't see this not ending in violence.
I think the Republican Party might see their exit strategy here.
We've all been saying that for like.
It has to, because again, they got to know that you can't put him up to run again. They got to know this.
They're gonna do it.
No,
they had so many exits.
They
so
had
many
a lot.
exits.
Look, I keep looking.
He literally had his most recent appearance was talking about how I called the Mexicans rapist on my first go. That was his first.
He's back.
He's on that again, and like that they had so many off ramps, and and much like commuters in New Jersey under your favorite beached whale, they couldn't take those off ramps.
I think we're in the moment of there will be violence, but even then, like, is this the violence I'm looking for? Am I looking for the next mass shooting? Like, which is?
I don't know.
I don't know. Like, all right, like, give me a different. It's like, all right, what different grades of violence do you want to bring out? The political violence.
It all kind of feels the same, though. The mass shootings feel like political violence
they are,
to me
that, in
because
a sense,
they're happening as a result of the political violence of these guys.
So it's like, there could be, but I think at this point, there are going to be pockets of that, like,
do you think there's going to be an attack if he gets indicted?
No, I don't think so. Not immediately.
I'll bet you 6-pack there is.
No.
Okay.
No, I'll bet the 6-pack.
I like that I was able to get a Chris Christie joke out of Georgia. That's fantastic.
There you go.
Chris Christie, beached whale. Fort Lee, New Jersey.
There's one union. United States.
No. United Auto Workers. There's 2 unions.
Oh, God. There's lots
Come
of
on,
unions.
let's
Sorry.
focus.
Look, go unions.
Yeah.
Proletariat Unite. Oh, no, that's a different country.
Easy, easy.
Oh, sorry about that.
Kinda,
I guess, maybe. Look.
This is a big capitalist.
Yes,
yeah, you're drinking a Diageo product right there. It's fine. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a break, and then we'll come back with, some more stuff.
Yeah, more stuff.
Maybe on this show. We'll see what happens.
You're doing well.
Yeah, you're listening to Chip Chat on Beltway Radio and beyond.
Sweeps.
lonely's a regular thing. I'm up in the lab composing, doing tracks to blast off. You don't even know what I've been through. Being lonely's a regular thing. I'm up in the lab composing, doing tracks to blast off. You don't even know.
Get what I'm saying.
Being lonely's a regular thing. I'm up in the lab composing, doing tracks to blast off. You don't even know what I've been through. Being lonely's a regular thing. I'm up in the lab composing, doing tracks to blast off. You don't even know. Being lonely's a regular thing. I'm up in the lab composing, doing tracks to blast off. You don't even know what I've been through. Being lonely's a regular thing. I'm up in the lab composing, doing tracks to blast off. You don't even know.
Streaming sucks. Oh, welcome back to Chip Chat here on Beltway Radio and Beyond. Hey, I made it just under the wire. I'm your host, Chip. With me is Tez.
What's poppin', y'all?
Hey, all right. So we kind of just had a little bit of a Tez talk, but we're gonna have another little Tez talk.
Yes, in your town.
Now this is a thing that I don't know if you even know that this happened.
Well, I heard about this.
Look at these dead ass birds.
Right?
You know, they're alive. Yes, we've had a change because someone did die though.
Yes, unfortunately, somebody did die. Congressman died.
Congressman died. Leon,
Yeah.
right? Leon Benjamin?
Yeah, Leon Benjamin, who's been a congressman for like a million years. He died, and State Senator Jen McClellan.
She's the first black woman to represent Virginia in Congress, right?
That's correct. Now, she was almost governor of Virginia. We covered that on the show during the primary, but she didn't win. But now she has been elected to Congress.
Did what's her name beat her out in the primary?
Who?
In Virginia?
Terry.
Yeah. Okay. Because they were trying to redeem.
Well, it's not that they were trying to redeem him, and she finished very poorly. Like,
oh, okay.
McAuliffe trounced everybody.
Right.
It's one of those things where like you got to win statewide. He's been a governor. He knew what to do.
Right.
Like McAuliffe just ran a shit campaign, but he had a great record to run on. He just did a bad job doing it.
And Youngkin ran in on with his.
He ran in on
his white women, and we're afraid about what they're teaching in our schools.
He had a hooded campaign.
Yeah, they were.
Putting the vaccine into salad dressing.
That guy.
There we go. But McClellan,
he slipped in by the sheet of his pants. Come on.
I'll give you that one.
Yeah. All right, so talk about Jenny McClellan.
So, Jenny McClellan, she was widely expected to prevail in this race. Obviously,
she did, but she won by more than a little bit.
Yeah, it was a
50-something percent.
50% over for winning this.
She won by 50 points.
Won by 50 points, excuse me. Yeah.
It's like 70-20 or whatever.
70-20, right. She said she was thinking, she said in an interview, of her parents who grew up in a segregated South her father and grandfather who paid poll taxes, and the women in her family who for generations faced barriers participating in American democracy.
They couldn't vote unless their husband signed a paper saying they were smart enough to do so.
Yeah.
Which was considered quite progressive at the time. They're like, oh, Virginia's letting women vote with their husband's permission. Yeah.
Again, just that point there, and this being in Virginia, right? This is the capital of, as we were talking about before, the place that MTG wants to go back to, the Confederacy.
It is the capital of the Confederacy. It's also the first place of real democracy in what is now the United States, in terms of at least Europeans understanding. I don't know. I'm sure there were lots of voting going on in Native American.
Yeah, right. I was going to say, yeah. But again, if we think about just like,
we know the Iroquois voted.
If we talk about from right at the end of Reconstruction to going into Jim Crow, this is huge. This is huge, right, for Virginia. And I mean, Virginia in general, I feel like has made a decent amount of strides from
first black governor. By the way, Douglas Wilder.
Yeah. So, she mentions in that being the birthplace of democracy and her kind of fighting all her life to, again, for the communities
to access the democracy.
Yeah, I mean, just to be able to do that in Virginia is huge, and I'm excited to see what she does in Congress. I mean, it's kind of difficult because nothing really moves in Congress unless you got a majority, but we'll see.
Well, so one of the funny things was that she got asked on MSNBC this week about like that there are other women congressmen from Virginia who are kind of leading, right? Spanberger's won her third race.
Yeah.
Another Jen Wexton. There's all the Jens. Everybody's named Jen. In fact, in the primary, there was another woman named Jen who was running against her. Jen Wexton, who's got Tom Wolf's old district, is a bit of a leader. And so they asked her, like, are you going to be like them? And, I was waiting for her diplomatic answer because the answer is she's far to the left of them. I mean, much more progressive. And they were running in tighter districts. She was running in a district that goes from Richmond to the Carolina line.
Sorry.
It's a dark blue district. It's a black district. It's safe, generally speaking. But I couldn't be prouder, as a Virginian, to say that our representation in Congress just checked more boxes.
Yeah.
We've got fairly large number of women representing Virginia, including even some Republican women.
Yeah.
And now we've got a black woman and an incredible one at that. I mean, we have a black woman lieutenant governor too.
Yeah. Jamaican.
Which she is, I don't know. We're going to let you.
I don't have, look.
That's your cousin.
I'm not like that. Checking boxes the wrong reasons. That's all I'll say.
Look, if I can't be responsible for BB and what the fuck he's doing over there, which this week was bad stuff, I didn't do it. I'm not part of that.
Right, exactly.
I'm not going to hold you accountable for Winsome Sears.
Lord, good God, because...
why is her name Winsome? What kind of name is that? She go by Winnie?
Is that like... Has to be Winnie.
Yeah, she goes by Winnie. Yeah. What's up, Winnie? Yeah. Winnie the Pooh?
I don't know about that.
I bet you must have had that her whole life.
Oh, yeah, exactly. It's like me and, Nickelodeon.
Yeah. Speaking of which, Pooh Bear hits the public domain this year, which is why we get the zombie
Pooh Bear, right?
I don't want that to exist. I haven't even watched the one with Christopher Robin, like going back and finding. I got like 3 minutes into that and I was crying like a baby. I couldn't even handle it.
Wait till Pooh Bear mixes with Cocaine Bear.
Yeah, no. So shout out to Nolan, who's crashing with me this week, by the way. No. Stop being excited for this movie.
Cocaine Bear is about to be crazy.
And it's Ray Liotta's last movie.
Oh, God. Oh, yeah, he's in this.
Yes, and so Nolan is very excited to go see this awful, awful movie.
It's going to be bad.
Yeah, it's gonna be
real bad.
The people who made it know it's bad. They're proud of it. That's their marketing campaign. This movie is bad. You should go see it.
It's going to work. It's going to do big numbers. And it's going to be one of those cultural hits that everybody... It's
like Office Space. It's going to become a thing that everybody quotes.
Everybody's going to be on their...
They're all going to be the bear. Somebody asked
you know what? It's not a remake.
That's true.
Hey, right?
Somebody asked if cocaine bear is a polite way of talking about polar bears.
Cocaine bear.
Yeah, it's a polar bear.
Wait till the polar bears I hear are
What's a polar bear?
well they're starting to mate with a different type of bear.
Okay, this is a thing that people need to know.
Yeah.
There's no genetic
No.
difference
But
between
they're
brown
coming
bears
down.
and polar
but
bears.
The polar bears are coming down.
They're just bigger and wider.
yeah, they're coming
They're the
down.
Wisconsin offensive line,
Oh,
and they're about to join the Georgia defensive line. In terms of bears, because they're coming further south and they're meeting up with the grizzly bears.
yeah, exactly.
And
I mean, of the Grizzlies.
unlike Americans, bears don't see color,
They,
which is true.
they don't.
They can see shades of blue.
They
But
don't, they don't think- and a side Tez talk. Obviously, the unelected 9 in the Supreme Court are arguing a huge case, Google versus Gonzalez.
230 reasons.
230 reasons, man. If you don't know, that's the Section 230 of what is it, Decency Communication Act? Or
Yeah,
something like that.
from 1996.
1996, which was there to protect
CompuServe.
and
Prodigy.
other Prodigy and other companies like that from not being liable for what users post on their platforms. I know, and again, I implore people to
Which we're in favor of, because there's no way anybody would host this shit
exactly.
if they were going to be responsible for it.
No way.
No way. Facebook would never let us talk about this because we're pretty openly anti-Facebook.
Yeah, right.
But but they're cool with it because they're indemnified against getting sued over it, unless explain it.
Well, yes, unless this law is changed, right? Or the Supreme Court deems that Section 230 is unconstitutional, which I guess is it's a weird way that it's going to go about. But as they seem to talk about it, they almost want Congress to.
I think that's where this is going. They don't have a role in
There's
this.
not really, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, because the arguments seem really on like some shaky grounds. I think more so dig deeper into this, because there is a guise that's been put over this, one with like CSAM material, right? Where like the child, like pornography and things that people should be rightfully upset about. In this case here with ISIS and right, is this promoting terrorism and people join? Like, but we have remember that the internet is really large.
Yeah,
and there are also
it's literally everything.
Yeah, and there are guardrails that are already in place. There are guard, and like maybe we should focus on enforcing some of these. That's a different piece.
Somehow the Europeans are able to do this,
but like Kagan
because they don't have a First Amendment.
But like Kagan said as well too, judges didn't do it.
Right,
Judges
Al Gore did this. No,
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
but judges in Europe didn't make these laws. Like
no,
it wasn't a
the
judge.
legislators.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and that's back to the original point. Where do they like she said? Where is probably the worst?
We should probably explain this very briefly, but the idea here is that the Section 230 says that the platforms aren't the same as, say, a newspaper.
Yes.
So if the Washington Post or the Wall Street Journal prints an op-ed from some crazy person that accuses this show of being murderers,
right?
For example, and we go, hey, that's objectively untrue. We're not public figures, at least not in that regard. And like this violates slander and libel laws. You're getting sued. The Times or the Journal or whatever, they'd be on the hook for that.
Right.
Whereas if you go on Twitter and call Joe Scarborough a murderer, which Donald Trump did 12 times, Twitter is not legally responsible for that. And they're not even like, they don't have to take it down for fear of getting sued because Scarborough tried. That's a very clear distinction here.
The bookstore is used a lot as well, too, as another example.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
The bookstore thing works. The newspaper thing works. Yeah. I think ultimately what's got to happen is that Congress has to come up with some sort of law that says that the content suggestions maybe or the things that the providers have control over are in some cases subject to some regulation. What level of regulation? I'm not willing to say right now, and I don't want to be too comfortable with that.
It gets really tricky.
It goes really bad.
Because again, what people are worried about is how, if people are worried about litigation, and especially in this, like, we're not going to see anything new, and even the existing internet could be completely different.
The issue here is, did Google recommend ISIS videos that cause people to get radicalized and kill this family member? That's possible that their algorithm, which they maybe can control and maybe can't control, did that. It's also possible that Google's algorithm feeds people who are curious about recipes in Iran ideas about democracy and eventually helps topple that. You know, or it's also possible that Marjorie's children are Googling recipes and find out that she hates brown people. Like, those same algorithms that can figure out what you're into, and they're really good at it.
They are, yeah.
You know how I know? Because the video featuring me that Priest Nomad put out has over 100,000 views.
It does.
The algorithm knows that y'all, the internet, want more Chip.
You keep interrupting me.
Y'all want more Chip. You got more Chip. Not only that, but his freestyle on Shade 45 is gone viral. And it's talking about DC and Go-Go and all this stuff. The Roots show in Philly now features a DC Go-Go section.
It does.
I'm not saying this is all because the algorithm loves me and I'm great, but I'm not part of it. 100,000 views is not nothing, right? So that same algorithm that feeds you what you want, which is more of this, also could notice that you're kind of into fascism and feed you more fascism. Is that the algorithm's fault, or is it your fault for being a fascist?
Yeah. And if the fascism comes on, you can click out of it.
You could click out of it.
That's my thing as well, too.
That's Carlin's thing from a million years ago. You don't like this, change the channel.
Yeah. Some shit pops up like, oh my God, no, I don't want to see this.
Click.
Shit. Get out of here.
Right. Turns out my mouse works.
Yeah.
Yeah. Richard Pryor was way onto that in 1975. He was like, when it comes up, click away.
Yeah.
Because there was clicks in 1970. No, I mean, but for real, like, the whole thing is, where are we? This is the nanny part of the nanny state, not like what Tucker means by the nanny state, but this is like we don't need to protect people this much, maybe.
And the Supreme Court should not be the one, because
they should not be the one.
Because again, where you want this is, you do want this inside the courts. I think even...
Do you want Clarence Thomas deciding what your internet looks like?
No.
What would it look like?
No.
Unseasoned cornbread recipes.
It would look like a lot of no.
Yeah. And Coca-Cola covered in pubes.
Oh God, that's disgusting.
What the fuck would a Clarence Thomas internet look like?
If it goes to the legislature, if it goes to Congress, you have the chance to have civil society and other folks, whoever sponsors different bills that are going to push forward. You have people who are intelligent about this. There's a lot of people.
At least they can write it.
They can write.
But unfortunately, Matt Gaetz gets to vote on it, and you know what he wants to do with the internet.
I think conservatives could get behind this.
Well, of course they could,
and
especially pedophiles like Matt Gaetz.
Well, look, no, but
what?
No,
Section 230 says I can say that about him until now.
I think conservatives who are worried about their speech being curtailed on these, like, there is a medium.
Heavy air quotes, by the way. This is a radio show. You couldn't see him do the air quotes.
And your shadow banning and all of this foolishness.
Right, it's not happening.
It's not happening. Like, there's a way that, again, I think there could be bipartisan legislation on this issue.
This is an obvious thing.
Yeah, it could easily be done into a way where we don't break the internet.
I think the right answer is to do nothing.
Yes, I think right now, yes, easily,
is to do nothing.
Yeah,
and let the commercial interests squash this stuff.
230 is not the reason that there's sex trafficking.
No,
that's not the reason.
No, it's that people want to do sex trafficking, and that the people who run the sites want their money.
Yeah,
it has to do with money. If the people who run the sites and who actually control the content can make a moral decision, and that decision might have to come from investors putting the pressure on them, but if they can make a moral decision that they don't want to be part of this, they can tone it down and they can change that shit.
Yeah.
Look at what Craigslist did.
Yeah.
They decided that this was not a thing they wanted to be a part of, and they worked hard at it, and they made it not their thing.
It takes investment and these
and attention and intention.
And these companies, you just laid off a bunch of people. It seems like you have money to go and spend on some content moderation.
They could spend it on lawyers.
Yeah.
This wasn't a cheap argument.
No, at all.
They had to argue against both the
that-
plaintiff and the federal government.
Yeah.
This is a weird case where the complainant and the solicitor general were mostly on the same side
And then
here.
there's a Twitter case that was today. I didn't even get
I didn't even get the details on that.
So, yeah.
And if it involves Elon.
Well, no, this is just, it's more, I think, 230 stuff. But I think it can negate even the argument from yesterday because they might just say, well, no, the internet, these companies are not liable for this stunt.
It's a series of tubes.
Yeah. So
that's who you've got deciding how things work.
Odd Squad.
Hey, there is no better show on public broadcasting than the Odd Squad.
Yeah. Its writing is just really
Oh, while we're on that, this is not related, but I do want to ask a very serious question of probably the only person I know who I can ask this of. You're aware of this new show on PBS about the wombats, the Work It Out Wombats?
Work it out, wombats.
You want to know what my question is?
Oh, God.
Why in God's name do they speak in American accents?
Because they couldn't go against. I feel like it would have been
They're
too much.
fucking wombats.
It would have been too much like Bluey. I feel like Bluey would have been coming for
It's
their
not
ass.
their problem like this. You know,
I think Bluey would have came for that ass. Like
no copyright problem there. They're
I don't
fucking
know.
wombats.
I don't know.
They've got a goddamn kangaroo.
Yeah, they live in a tree.
They live in a tree. The wombats don't live in trees, by the way. They live in burrows. They've got armored butts. They poop in square cubes.
They live in a tree.
Right? A wombat is like a crazy, and they're nocturnal, by the way. So they're like, that's another part of the show that doesn't make any sense. But they're fucking Australian, and I don't understand why they don't speak Australian.
This
is a very good question.
It's a good question. I think they didn't want to be too close to Bluey.
There's so much diversity they're missing, right? They've got American wombats. What's an American wombat?
You know,
they've been plucked. They've been colonized, brought here to the States, and grown up in Colorado.
You know what American wombat is? It's what I call Boston Market. No. Boston Market is American Peruvian.
Right. Boston Market.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no, it's Peruvian chicken domesticated.
Exactly.
PBS, you need to do better. And I don't know why the Australian embassy, which is right now in town, it's got a great embassy.
Yes.
I'm shocked that they're not out there, with their torches and stuff, right? Yelling about the wombats.
That is a great point, though.
It's a great question.
It's a great question. Yeah, I saw that and I was like, But I think it's Bluey related. They didn't want to be too close to Bluey.
Who doesn't love Bluey? Yeah. Right? The whole world loves Bluey.
Everyone likes Bluey.
It's the most realistic show on television. Despite the fact that it's all talking dogs.
Yeah, they're all talking dogs.
Right? Nah, but the parents live like a real parent life.
They do.
It's the most realistic show on television at the moment. Except for those fucking wombats.
They had a good song, though.
Yeah, it's a good
song. Work it out, wombat.
All right. We're going to take a break.
I guess.
I think. Sure. Brian doesn't want to take a break.
Go straight through.
We're just going to push it through. All right, we're not going to take a break. We're going right on through.
Go blue.
All right. This is a story added by Brian himself, actually, ironically. Go Blue up in Lake Michigan. They found a shipwreck from 1854 of a passenger steamer called the Westmoreland. What did it have on there, Tez?
Whiskey?
Yep, bunch of whiskey. So they're gonna go try to recover it and stuff and see if it tastes any good, and then they're gonna try to make some from testing it. I guess.
Bad moonshine, that kills people.
No, not for that reason though. Not for duration.
Not for duration.
Just for being boiled at lower temperatures. Yes, methyl alcohol versus ethyl alcohol. I recently had a sip of a beer from 1991 that was still sealed in a can, and it wasn't great or anything to talk about.
Skunk.
No, it was Bud Dry, which still existed in 1991 before you existed.
But no, I was.
But also,
I was born in the 80s.
It was specifically meant to taste dry, like nothing, and it did.
Air beer.
Yeah.
Beer air.
More importantly, I did taste a Omegang from 07. It was a chocolate
Are
something
beers
or
now
other.
gone down the wine realm?
No.
Oh. Okay.
I just had this sitting around.
Oh, wow.
And it was supposed to be, it's one of these Belgian styles that maybe it ages well or not.
Yes.
7%. It was all right. I didn't finish it. It was it's good enough.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they found this cache of 280 barrels of whiskey, which is a lot.
That's a lot of whiskey.
Yeah, it's worth $871 million. And they're going to try to like bring it up, and then they're going to give it to these folks at Traverse City to see if they can make some more of it.
Someone's going to claim this shit and file a lawsuit. I already feel it. Someone's going to be like, my forefather was the grandfather
we
was
want
on the
in
Westmoreland on captain.
If you're involved and you want to get some publicity, come on this show. We'll help you. Uncle Nearest, by the way, you're still invited. We want all of that. All right, this one's called Blame the Insurance Companies. A large pet emu escaped.
Emu.
Yeah, it was running all over East Bridgewater in Massachusetts. It was.
Oh, that joint is big.
Yeah, it was eventually apprehended and
apprehended,
given back to its owner, which is unfortunate because emus are delicious. It should have been made into school lunch. That would have been the proper.
That bird named Mallory.
Yep. Right, Mallory.
It's
a great name for a bird.
There's a big bird too.
Yeah.
Only big birds.
Mallory, get back over here. Emu. Madison, Wisconsin. Dateline. Madison, Wisconsin's the capital of Wisconsin. Mm-hmm. It's where those Republicans that are in the government are. Commissioner Robert Spindell, who I hope Brian's got a picture of, who also served as a fake elector for former Republican President Donald Trump.
You put on your CV, fake elector.
Yep, that's true. Said his comments about an email that he sent to 1,700 people were not bragging about voter suppression. He was all indignant about it. I will not stand for that, he said in an interview. The last thing I want to do is suppress votes. However,
like Greg Abbott.
Here's what the actual email said. Commissioner Spindell's comments sent in an email to Republicans in the 4th Congressional District were first reported on January 10th by Urban Milwaukee. On 11 January, fellow Commissioner Mark Thompson, a Democratic attorney, said Spindell should step down from the 6-member commission. Spindell, who is white, which is important for the story, says in the email that Republicans, quote, can be especially proud of the city of Milwaukee, which has an 82% Democratic vote, casting 37,000 less votes than cast in 2018 election, with the major reduction happening in the overwhelmingly Black and Hispanic areas. Well, that's both your boxes, but that didn't get Italian.
No.
But what? You should be proud.
We should be.
Well,
proud.
they should be proud.
I mean, this is. I don't know if it was either. I feel like it was in Wisconsin before. He's not the first person to be like touting, "Hey, we were able to go ahead.
We successfully suppress the black vote."
Yeah,
but he wrote it in an email to 1,700 people. You know, as you do.
I mean, look, be careful, buddy. You remember when? Be careful about these emails, man.
Hillary had some.
Yeah, you see what that did.
Right. All right. Remember how I told everybody not to have worried about the goddamn balloon from the Chinese spy balloon? And like, oh, why didn't they wait till it was over to the ocean to shoot it down? We talked about there's 100% chance that it was jammed or being surveilled or like whatever, right? Turns out we were right. This show broke news by random speculation. The Defense Department this week not only admitted, but they published the actual photo of a U-2 flying right next to the balloon. either jamming it or reading it or doing whatever. There was no chance this thing was a threat to anybody. The second it entered U.S. airspace, we're just waiting for it to either be safe or for us to figure out everything there was on it. So here is this photo. I don't know if anybody can see it on my paper, but
it's a black blob.
It's a U-2 pilot looking out over his own wing at the damn spy balloon. And some folks on Twitter posted it, and then the Defense Department was like, yeah, not only did that happen, here's a higher res version of it. And they sent it out for everybody to see. The
Elon Musk
wasn't
took
a
it
threat.
down because he got more twisted than him.
That's right. The balloon's not a threat, Tucker. You fucking moron. All right. Thanks to all the guests who were smart enough not to return this week or to ever be near the show. We'll be back next week with more. We do have a guest next week, actually, with a phenomenal story. Thanks to our radio partners, the BBC, the ABC, and the THC. Thanks to NOTN for keeping us on for another week. Thanks to our digital media lasagna, Isaac Elam. Thanks to our home on the interwebs, coplaymedia.com. And thanks, as always, to our family here at Beltway Radio for making us sound as smooth as Ukrainian train tracks. All right, where can everybody get you on the socials and stuffs?
On Twitter at DC Cortez when I log in, and on Instagram at CatchemCordy when I log in.
When you log in. All right, you can find me and the show on the Twitter at ChipChatRR, and you can find us on Facebook or Instagram at RipChipChat, and you can, of course, find us every Thursday night here on Beltway Radio and Beyond. I'm Chip. That says you've been listening to Chip Chat on Beltway Radio and Beyond.
We're going home early!